What he means is by 5 o'clock we've already raised the anchor and are already on our navigation track.
That's what leave means. Action. Good morning from the bridge or the pilot house of N6401 Kariwa. We're about 2.5 hours out of Port McNeill.
Leaving Port McNeill, it's I think not even 5 a.m. but you can see how light it is already because sunrise is in about 10 minutes.
Heading over to probably Pruth Bay. It's about an 8-hour run round Cape Caution. Not a bad day.
No, it started off a bit grey, but the sun is shining now and it's looking lovely. We're about to leave the protection of the islands in northern Vancouver to go out into open ocean.
Queen Charlotte Sound, yeah.
Queen Charlotte Sound. So we'll see how it goes.
A little bit of pitching, but I mean the forecast is pretty good. So it's Wednesday morning, the 2nd of July, and we left Anacortes on Friday.
We did.
And we had to run up to Bedwell. Checked in at customs, Canadian customs. That wasn't too long, was it?
No, it took about 2 minutes. It took longer to tie up than it did to check in.
Yeah. And then over to Ganges for a quick shopping, which was interesting because when we first got there they'd had a power outage, so it was cash only, but eventually they got their machines.
Yeah, by the time we got to pay they'd sorted it out, so we could use the card.
Is that a fish farm there? Then we left Ganges and we came through Active Pass. Timed it, left Ganges early in the morning. Had a pretty simple transit of Active Pass. Beat the ferries. Went through 15 minutes before Slack. There was no trouble at all.
No, it was actually lovely, beautiful in there. It's gorgeous.
And what about the run up?
Uneventful, nothing exciting. Did we see whales? We did, but we didn't have a camera, so it didn't count. And then we got to
Hornby Island, Tribune Bay.
Oh yes, we dropped anchor there.
It's quite busy in there.
It was very busy because it was Canada Day, so people had the day off. They were all
well, that was the weekend. I mean, it's been a long weekend.
Yeah, staying the night in their little cabin cruises. Looked like fun. A lovely beach.
Yeah, from there we went up to Campbell River. Docked in the marina. That was a bit of a performance.
Yes. But Campbell River was quite a nice little place.
Oh, the shops were great.
The marina, the docks were so long. By the time you'd walk to the end of a dock,
you got lost.
Yes.
We got into Campbell River and they told us to go to a slip, but the slip was occupied and the other boat refused to move, so they sent us to a different slip.
Oh yes.
Which I was thankful for the strong thrusters, so because that required some maneuverability. This boat has two 38 horsepower hydraulic thrusters, which makes maneuvering this heavy boat an awful lot easier, and brings a sense of comfort. I do try and not use them when we depart and rather steer, so that I don't lose the practice.
Yeah, but when you're backing out of the slip you have to use them because you've got no steerage.
Well, we had to back all the way down, yeah. Well, what I used to do on the 62 was keep the rudder straight, and if we were backing down, I just steer with the bow thruster. That used to work pretty well. Then we left Campbell River 8 a.m. off the docks for a 9:30 passage of Seymour Narrows. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was very intimidated, but once we arrived there was about 4 or 5 boats lined up to go through. So once we started the passage, it was actually quite smooth. I mean, there was a lot of upwelling, a lot of swirling, but I mean, this boat is a beast and just handled it very well.
I have been thinking about this a lot. Given that we were in the South Pacific, the passes into the atolls are just as intimidating, and if I'm honest, I think they're more intimidating. And one of the reasons is that the tide and current information is a lot more sketchy over there.
Yeah, and also if something goes wrong, you're on your own.
If something goes wrong, you're on your own. It's much more narrow to get into the passes over there, particularly McNeill, where we went in.
Yeah.
And I think we almost went down sideways when we went out on McNeill.
Oh yes, it was that whirlpool right in the middle.
Yeah. So that's not to underestimate it, but Seymour Narrows was fairly uneventful. What we did have in Discovery and Johnson was a lot of wind against current, and a lot of choppy seas, up to 4 foot, 5 foot seas, waves in some spots. But it was only for a half an hour period. The roughest weather.
Yeah.
You went and had to lay down.
I had to lie down.
Then we got to Port McNeill late in the afternoon. Anchored. Had a visit in the evening.
Derek and Jennifer on Skookum. They happened to be in the same anchorage, so they came over and said hello. So it was lovely to meet them. But they're on their way south and we're on our way north, so hopefully we'll meet up with them when they come back north again at the end of their holiday time.
Yeah, so Derek and Jennifer are on N40 Skookum 1. They're pretty hardy. They go out in all sorts of weather from Kitimat, where they live. They don't have stabilizers, they only have paravanes. We've communicated and followed them on YouTube and Instagram for the last several years. So this was the first chance for us to meet up with them. And anyway, they've gone in a different direction, and here we are heading this way. The boat has performed well, and she's certainly rock steady.
Rock steady. We spent the day yesterday at anchor. We spent 2 nights in Port McNeill at anchor.
Yeah.
So yesterday's job, being the first of the month, was to exercise all the through hulls.
How many are there?
Seacocks. At least 30.
Yeah, I reckon.
At least 30, and some of them, like, you had to be a real skinny thing to get in there. That would be me.
You had to be a gymnast.
And a gymnast.
Yeah.
And an acrobat. And a contortionist.
And you had to be prepared to draw blood.
And you weren't even doing seacocks at the time. You see what happens when the captain does some cleaning.
I was doing seacocks. They were the ones in the far corner. Anyway, yeah, you did the seacocks. You did a bunch of them. I did a bunch of them. We discovered more filth that we cleaned up. What else did we do?
We cleaned all the strainers on the sea raw water intakes, and we cleaned all the filters on the air conditioners. That was challenging. First of all, to find them, and secondly, to be able to reach them. I mean, they really are shoved into the holes.
Yeah, the one up here
terrible.
is in a weird, yeah, and the one in the cabins, and
Yeah.
they're in the oddest places.
Anyway, I think it's probably the first time in a few years that they've been cleaned, because they were totally clogged. But now they're good for until the 1st of August.
And the spaces, you've done a good. You did a good job vacuum up the spaces as
Cleaning all the dust, yeah.
Cleaning up the dust.
The dust certainly accumulates around the air conditioner intakes.
Yeah.
So that's done.
Yeah.
And then we had kind of an early night, and here we are.
Got up early. I got up at, well, I was awake early. I started the engines at 4:30, 4:15, 4:25, whatever it was.
This is my captain. He says we're going to leave at 5. What he means is by 5 o'clock we've already raised the anchor and are already on our navigation track.
That's what leave means. Leave doesn't mean we're preparing to leave. It means the anchor is away, and we are away. One is W-E-I-G-H, and the other one is way, W-A-Y. Away, to be away. Away, A-W-A-Y. Anyway.
Nautical terminology.
Anyway,
So
the
now
anchor
here
came
we
up.
are.
Yeah. What do you think of the scenery? It's been great, huh?
Yeah, it's lovely. Very nice. Doesn't change a lot, but so far it's been beautiful.
Yeah, I think the snow and the glaciers and the other stuff is to come.
And the whales.
Yeah.
And the bears. Scoot
bears.
gave us hints of where to see bears.
Yeah. One of the things spending time with Jen and Derek was getting some hints on places to go. They've been cruising this area for some time. And anyway, I laid off the courses last night. I checked the weather with .ca.
gc.ca.
Yeah,
Weather.gc.ca.
Okay, yeah. And we're making our way. So what do we think? We're doing 1425 RPM on the main engine, which is burning, according to the system, 8 gallons an hour. We're running the 25 kW generator to run the fans, keep the batteries up, topped up. I'll run that generator for about 3 hours. I'll switch over to the other one for 3 hours, and I'll also run one of the hydraulic alternators just to keep them all ticking over.
Did you switch the fans on?
The fans were on.
Okay.
They went on when I put the generator on.
Okay.
Yeah. And that engine room stays so much cooler than the 62. But I think some of that is the temperature of the water and the temperature of the environment. The ambient temperature. I see the speed's picked up. We're doing about 9 knots now, as the current has faded away. It's a nice sunny day now. Turned into a sunny day. We've got choice of 3 anchorages, and I think we'll decide when we get closer which one to go to. I think they all have their benefits. Do you like having the 2 stitches?
Yeah, it's nice, different.
Different? Why? No, it's different.
Well, I don't know. I used to be able to loaf on the couch at the back. Now I have to sit up front here.
Oh, you mean you got to contribute? Can't stare at your phone all the time.
Let's not talk about staring at the phone all the time. Okay?
Ah.
You want to talk about the log?
The log had nothing to do with the phone. I hardly look at my phone because I'm extremely busy. Yeah. There's definitely a little bit of a swell, which right now is on the nose, but we'll come round. It's a low swell. She's riding it. It's a little bit different ride to the 62.
Yeah, it's quite different.
Quite different.
Well, being up front.
Yeah.
From being in the aft pilot house.
Yeah.
I'm noticing the difference, I must say.
Yeah, she feels a little more hobby horsey. But I mean, she's rock solid. Rock solid.